welcome to another installment of the Fragments of Silicon reviews. Last review session for the season, actually. Um, so 4 reviews up. The first of which is Artifice War Tactics. Artifice War Tactics is a turn-based strategy roguelike game with unique asymmetrical combat systems. In this game, you enemies set up attack zones while your champions can actively evade and disrupt their strategy using their traits, abilities, or items. I'm not exactly sure what's so innovative about that, but whatever. Um, anyway, a turn-based strategy set in a medieval fantasy world where victory is earned through cunning tactics and skillful execution. Outwit your enemies by avoiding their deadly traps and unleashing devastating combos with allies. Survive waves of relentless foes to conquer strongholds by defeating their powerful bosses. Like, right, so the gist here is this is a tactical strategy game of the turn-based variety. Um, and it's operating using the grid slash tile layouts. So everything is square.
Mm.
Uh, and yeah, honestly, the blurbs here are professing a lot more uniqueness than there really is. I'm like, honestly, I think the most standout feature here is it's a very dinky strategy game. Like your starting army is 3 units, which okay is
That's not a lot.
that's like tutorial level. Yeah, that's like that's tutorial level in other strategy tactical RPG
Or
games of various
like
sorts.
scenario mode, not like actual game.
Yeah, but here no, no, you're working with a much more limited army.
Mm.
Um, the opposing side is also different in that it's a lot. It's literally composed of waves, um, or as they call them, reinforcements.
I,
So
I mean,
every
I can
turn that
see how
goes
that could be
by,
interesting in concept, but I can also see how they can screw that up horrifically.
yeah, um, and like your job is to kill a certain amount of enemies, or to like stop a certain amount of enemies from reaching the other side, something along those lines,
Mm.
in order to win, instead of, you know, ironically enough, more tactical
Take a certain
goals.
amount
You
of
know,
territory or anything like that.
right, take the enemy base, you know, there's nothing that sophisticated in this game. Um,
Mm.
and as far as your units, well, they're singular champions. It's like everything is a champion in this game,
So it's more
at
of a
least on
hero
your side.
squad instead of a just like a little army.
Yes,
All right,
you know,
because that
like I
is a
said,
very big
you know
difference.
that. Yeah, yeah. This is where this game differs from your typical strategy game.
Mm-hmm.
It's you know, it's a small band. It's a literal small band of heroes against, well, not overwhelming forces, but still more forces than you have.
Mm-hmm.
Um, at least a couple turns down the line. Um, especially depending on how things play out. Um,
Mm-hmm.
because as you might expect, your movement and attacks are, you know, they play out in the typical strategy way, as in you move, you attack. Those are, those are dictated by, you know, certain rules for each character, unit, what have you.
Mm,
Um, so here's where this game went absolutely pear-shaped for me. You can't really strategize with the
mm.
movement or attack options. And I know that sounds really stupid and dumb because it is, but here's the thing: you can't see where your attack options are in relation to movement, or rather, if you move, you move. You don't get.
It's not move then attack like in other turn-based.
No, I'm trying to convey what I'm getting across here. There's no backseas.
Mm.
There's no, okay, if I move here and want to set up a shot here, what does that look like?
It's like how people normally do like competitive chess, where like if you touch a piece, you must move that piece type
Not exactly.
situation.
It's more if you move, you've moved.
Yeah.
There's no cancel ability,
Mm.
and that's where the big problem here is because it's in the attacks. Because guess what? Not all like it's in the unconventional. Like one of the units moves only on diagonals
Mm.
and has a weird fireball attack that so it's kind of hard to actually chart where that goes
Does
via
topography of the map
movement.
matter, or is it just it goes X spaces in certain directions?
The latter.
Mm.
Topography is not a concern here,
Fair enough.
for the most part. For the most part, there are like items with it's like the lightest bit of cover. Like
Mm.
there are things that will block your path until you destroy them.
But there's not like
Like I
you
said,
can change the map, so basically you make a death hallway that if your fireball goes down,
yeah,
it's just going to keep bouncing in between and just kill anything that walks up there.
nothing like that.
Mm.
It's more and yeah, that is another thing that I didn't really see. AOE effects, and how big the spread is. Like I
Mm.
said, this game kind of fumbles the little details that really make the strategy flourish or fail. Like so, here's the end result of all of a certain amount of tactical blindness. It's and this happened more than once. It's like I wanted to move a unit in order to attack, but it's like I came up short
Mm. Yeah, it could
because they
either be
couldn't
being
add.
short or one block too far from where you wanted to be to do the attack.
Yeah,
Like if it goes on those diagonals.
yeah, because it's like I can't adequately chart um, where my attacks are going.
Mm.
I'm like, and there's another consideration in the strategy, and that is, for lack of, that is to say, if you like, um, you know, uh, there's a certain amount of blocks that the enemy can strike, and if you hit one of those blocks, you'll get damaged.
Oh, blocks is in like
You know,
spaces, not like blocks as
yeah,
in block with a
ti-
shield.
yeah, tiles. I
Fair
guess is the
enough.
more proper term. Um,
Because I was
but
figuring like
the
the
point
way
is,
you made it sound like you could like block with a shield a certain amount of times, like that's horrible.
no, no, yeah, no, no. It's more like if the enemy can strike in all four cardinal directions, it'll flash red.
Mm.
The tiles will, and it'll note in your movement like with a red X and
Mm.
and it's grayed out where if you cross that space, and it's not just if you land on it, It's if you cross,
Mm-hmm.
like if you're moving from one area, one space to something across the bow of that space, you will still get hit.
So they have like autonomous
You
attacks where even if it's your turn, they will still strike.
yes, and it'll in fact interrupt your movement to do that.
Oh, that's awful. That's like that just straight up shouldn't exist. Like in this type of game.
But it does. Like I said, this is why I ended up spending about an hour,
Mm,
um, which is not a lot for a strategy game, but that's also a sign of how small everything is. Like on the other hand, that can be a selling point
mm-hmm.
because usually when it comes to tactical strategy games of this sort, they're a fucking time commitment.
Yeah.
Like especially if they're of the RPG sort.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so this game
What's the
has,
latest hour count on Pillars of Eternity over there?
like, I've actually finished that.
Oh wow.
Just and it
But
came into about two. It
yeah.
came into about 200 hours.
So yeah. You could put some time into games like that.
Yeah, here that's just not happening.
Oh
Just
god, no.
you know, just on a term of scale, it
Like
doesn't
just what
have
you're
it.
describing, this could have just some slightly better execution. This could have been an interesting game, but the
Yeah,
execution they went with was just unfortunate.
yeah. It's like I think there is a place for a slim down strategy tactical game. Like the indie scene is filled with RPGs that are very light on the RPG.
Mm-hmm.
They show up on the show all the time. Um, whether they be card based or otherwise.
Right.
Um, tactics games not so much. Like so ultimately, yeah. Oh, and I suppose the final thing that I want to really mention and get back to is that instead of like it doesn't have an RPG system where like the full you gain levels, experience,
Mm-hmm.
you can equip. It acts like an RPG except it's a strategy game as well.
Mm-hmm.
No, this game has a very slimmed down approximation of that. As in, you can gain levels um, by getting loot on the uh, in the battles,
Mm-hmm.
either through defeating enemies or destroying objects, and you
Yeah.
do that to unlock more abilities, better abilities, or
So your abilities are equipment based, not level based.
no, you got two abilities unlocked, and you
Mm.
can unlock another two abilities
Mm.
for each unit. That's what we're talking about. Like I said, it's the barest essence of RPG elements.
Right.
Um, um, anyway, I suppose the other thing to mention is in terms of audio visual fidelity, it looks okay. But I'll be honest, I don't think this game evolved beyond like basic Unity look.
Yeah. It just looking at the trailer here, it looks like it's straight out of like the mid 2010s.
Like, and the music is appropriately war themed, but
Mm. You can
background is
probably tell the music looking at the art style.
yeah. Like it's going to be very serious, very very 4/4 time, very march in play. That kind of music to simulate the music
Marches
of
are
war.
usually in 4/2 for what it's worth.
Mm.
I'm like anyway, uh, the overall point is, the music's fine, but it's,
You're not going to
you
be
know,
listening to it outside of game, probably.
yeah, it's not Fire Emblem music, it's not Shining Force music or anything like that. So, you know, and indeed, that's the kind of expectations you should have for this game,
Mm,
flat out. It it's not something on that scale. It's not aiming to be. In fact, it's almost the anti grand tactical strategy game.
mm,
It's just its execution is fumbly on the details.
mm,
I'm like, anyway, so I would say it also reflects in the price of the game because it costs a tidy 14.99, which uh, let me tell you, that's dirt cheap for tactical games.
yeah. Especially
So
there's no DLC, at least currently, like available on a public roadmap, right?
I didn't see any, but even so, DLC isn't part of the consideration here.
Right.
Like,
But I mean, like, if there was like, oh, we have 3 campaigns coming or whatever that they put available
eh,
publicly, but
yeah, all right. Anyway, so like I said, it's an interesting experiment.
hmm
I think some adjustments in the strategic details need to be done, but otherwise, it's a fair romp.
mm,
Now, I didn't particularly like it, but that's because, I rather enjoy tactical strategy games and I have a set of expectations. Um,
mm,
and I can usually commit a bit more time than a lot of people can. But if you like tactical strategy games and are looking like for something for your Steam Deck, this is a decent choice.
Is this Steam Deck compatible?
Let me see. Unknown,
Ah,
but it's like
I
I
mean, you
have a
can
hard
still
time seeing.
do Steam Remote Play on your Steam Deck if you, as long as you also
I have
have
a,
a PC.
yeah, yeah. It's like I have a hard time seeing this game being choked on a Steam Deck.
It really depends what they use to make it. If it's not Linux compatible, then it's also not Steam Deck compatible because they run off Linux.
Hmm.
So the
I'm
the
just
unknown is probably just has it been tested with the either on Linux or with at least Proton, which is what Steam Deck uses to get around some of the games that don't have
th-
a Linux version.
well, that just seems like there's not enough information.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so anyway, so that'll about do it for Artifice here. Um, be sure to tune in after the break as Petty will be reviewing The Last Shot.